So good morning. It's as Claire has said, my name is Vincent. So I'm a Nigerian this is where I'm from. This is the map of Africa. This is my country. And in Nigeria, we have 36 states. So I'm from somewhere here in Oyo State. And this is the logo of my institute. So I'm in the research institute that is with the university. But I'm based in Ibadan. The university is in Ile-Ife. So I'm associate professor in soil. So very soon my full professorship will be announced. So this morning I'll be talking about new trends, emerging trends in nitrogen management. I'll be talking from the African perspective, because most time in Europe, in the north, your perspective is different from those of us that came from the south. So I'll bring in the African perspective. I'll talk to you about some of the things I've been doing in my research experiences. To you briefly, what we call overview. I'll talk about a few things about Nigeria and my institute. I'll talk about trends in nitrogen management from African perspective. And also I'll talk to you about some of the things I've been doing, my research activities, both from the technical point of view and the policy point of view. But let me say now, I'm more in policy research. I don't do more of technical again, because as you move up, you have to leave technical.
Sorry.
In Africa, our population is increasing, and therefore we also need to have increase in food production. And nitrogen, actually 3 elements, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are very key, but nitrogen is the most important. The other also, so I'll talk more about nitrogen. Then also, in order to look at the nitrogen problems, there is need for us to have focused research, like the one we are doing in INSA, and also how we need to build capacity and also look at partnership. So the project INSA fits perfectly into some of these things. So, and we are supposed to learn together from Africa and Europe. So this is my country is in West Africa. This is, I'm sure Nigeria is almost ×5 the size of France, if not more. As at 2018, our population is 180 million. By 2050, we're going to increase to 450 million. So Nigeria is the largest country actually in Africa. So agriculture is very important for us in Nigeria. And yes, agriculture is very important for us, but it contributes to our GDP, gross domestic product, and also more than 60% of the population depends on it. And in Nigeria, they have low use of fertilizer, despite the fact that, so you know that nitrogen is actually very important. This is my country again. This is the opportunity. Nigeria is divided into 6 zones. Like you have a region in France. I think you have, this is Occitania region. Yes, in Nigeria we have 6. You have Northwest. This is North Central. This is where you have Boko Haram, Ogo area. This is where you have security problem. Northeast, very close to Chad, Niger, and Cameroon. So I am from Southwest here. So we have different, so in Northwest we grow wheat, and Northeast because you have some climate similar to Europe, so you can grow. In the South, this is where you grow cacao and oil palm and some cash crops, which are not grown anymore. And you have a lot of cattle and beef. So this is the comparative advantage we have in Nigeria. Now let's look at a few trends in nitrogen management. Africa has the 12th highest population growth in the world, which is actually going to double by 2050. There are so many constraints, problems that needs to be addressed. Then nitrogen is very key in the continent. So it is low in many ecosystems, and it has issue with productivity, both of crop, of livestock, and also of human. Then one thing we need to know that in Africa, we have this problem. Most of the research that are conducted, that people do, scientists, is actually for publication, not to solve problems. So most times, policymakers and policy decision makers cannot assess. They don't really understand. And I'll give you a practical example. One of our governors, when I was working with UNDP, he was telling me that something can be technically correct. That means technically it is all right, but politically it is not correct. So you need to understand what policy makers. So most times scientists don't think about it. You just want to do such an experiment that has nothing to do with real life problem. So this is something that we need to do in Africa. So we need to align our research with the needs of decision makers. So there needs to be a link between policy and science. It needs to be a very strong link. Let's look at some good examples from Africa that is very important. In Africa, we have 70% of arable land that are very good in agriculture. Okay, you know what? You all don't speak to this environment. In Africa, 25% of GDP comes from agriculture. So okay, you also know why nitrogen becomes important. 80% fresh water, 70% are employed in agriculture. Then you have more than 60% as young population in Africa. Then 50% from urban food market and 10%. So these things are positives development in Africa that need to be harnessed for us to grow, and also for Africa to become sufficient. So I think this is an area that Europe needs Africa. And that's why most times you find that most Europeans and people from the north are always in Africa because of some of these things. But despite all these things, we have some challenges. So I will be talking about the sustainable nitrogen and the SDG. When you talk about nitrogen, nitrogen is captured in about 6 sustainable development goals of the United Nations. So SDG 2, you're talking about sustainable food production. We are talking about fresh water in SDG C. We are talking about soil pollution in SDG 11. We are talking about sustainable use of agricultural inputs in SDG 12. And I need to talk more about this. I know that you do a lot of analysis from rainwater here. So what happens when the soil and the water is polluted? It is evaporated. And again, when rain falls, you know that. So most of the analysis you are getting actually are coming from this. Then soil carbon and soil degradation. So you find that 6 of the sustainable development goals has to do with nitrogen. So it means that nitrogen is very important. So we need to solve some real life problem there for nitrogen. And one other thing we look from this is that this is a critical information for us in Africa. We are currently writing a book called Integrated Nitrogen Assessment. So there are different continents. So Europe, Africa, Latin America, Oceania. So this is going to form part of what will be in the book from Africa. And I'm going to spend time to talk about what I call mega trends, what I call trends, emerging trends, things that are evolving in Africa that is very important and is very germane and crucial for us to be aligned with what is happening in the developed world in either Europe or Northern America. So we'll be looking at our economy, demography, farmland, mechanization, climate change, and financing, and so on and so forth. So mega trend 1 for Africa. In 6 out of the world's 12 fastest growing economy, they're actually in Africa. What that means is that Africa is very important when we are talking about world development. the highest rate of return on inflows of foreign direct investment is actually from Africa. So you can see the projection up till 2045. What it means is that there is potential for Africa to have sustainable economic growth. Of course, there are some challenges that needs to be addressed. In the second, we look at Africa has 12 highest population growth rate. That's a plus. I'm sure that most countries in Europe, the population is decreasing, while in Africa, it is increasing. So you could see look at Europe, look at the population. I think it's flattened for so many years. But look at in Africa. Africa is actually trying to catch up with Asia. It is a problem, but of course it means that we need to do a lot to solve this so that people can will not go hungry in Africa. The third one is there's a scramble. It's like everybody want to come to Africa to get a lot of things. So we have smallholder farmers, but our landscape is changing due to domestic investor and demand for land by international investors. So you see people, this is Rwanda in East Africa, Malawi in Southern Africa, this is Kenya in East Africa, Zambia in Southern Africa, Ghana in West Africa, Tanzania also in East Africa. So this is from FARA. It's an African Union initiative. So you could see the scramble for farmland. Then there is demand for mechanization. In Africa now, you see labor-saving technology. So and prices of labor are increasing so people don't want to do things the way it used to be done before. So there's demand for mechanization. Then the fifth one is our changing diets and food markets in Africa. This thing is, I think the light is on. So due to our diet, new marketing and emerging regional and continental market channels, that shaping who can participate. So we have a lot of this plus for Africa. And it also has implication for nitrogen for us as we look at the INSA project. Then the environmental trends. Due to climate change, land degradation and sustainable consumptions, so most countries are at risk. If you look at Africa, this is the Sahara Desert. Nigeria is here with Chad and Mali. So this has a lot of, I just got a news from home. A couple of days ago, it rained heavily in Nigeria, so there's a lot of flood in Lagos and so many cities, even in northern Nigeria. So due to the climate change, so we have some risks that needs to be addressed. And the one also that is also very important now for Africa is the fourth industrial revolution. I think so many things are happening in Africa now that is leading to growth and creating some positive disruption for us. This is a paddy rice. Rice is rich. This is lowland rice in Africa. And this is, I think, the use of drone. So it's happening now in Africa. And why? So if we use industrial revolution technology based on strong innovation ecosystem, so using our skills, so it means that Africa is going to also become one of the big economy players. Some years back, we used post office. I have a post office box in my country, in Ibadan. I rarely use it. For 5 years, I've not paid rent because it's not useless for me. So instead of post office, I know I don't need to, I can send mails. Like when they were sending my letter of invitation, if you are not sent by courier, it will take about 1 month to get to Nigeria some years back. But you know, before the one you send by courier arrive, I already have the PDF you sent through email. So you could see now, many years is tax. But now, like when I was coming here, I just took a train from Ibadan to Lagos. I picked Uber to take me to the hotel. So now it's changing. And before, in fact, the young people in Africa rarely use television. Now it is social media and their phones. Then before, you know, there are so many, you don't even need to see them physically. You just book online and you get. So this is a big plus for us in Africa. If we harness, it will help in many things, including the INSA project also. Then, this one is so important for us. We need to finance research and development. I'm going to talk about that one, which of course most African countries are not doing. So you could see, so new partnership funding mechanism. Last week, there was the largest event in Africa called AGRF. It hosts every year. So you have all the presidents from Africa, many people come from Europe. So it is an African Union event. This is Technologies for African Agricultural Transformation. This is being funded by the African Development Bank to the tune of, think about $20 million for. So I'm part of the project. It is called TAT. So you could see so many of these. These are different initiatives. So we need partnerships. And recently, my country, I was telling Claire, in the next 4 years, Nigeria is going to spend about 500 million euros to digitize all the soil in the whole, Nigeria is a big country. So we are going to partner with FAO, with district in the Netherlands, with I think ICRAF. I think so. There are a lot of opportunities for us using outlook for future of nitrogen in Africa. Okay, we need to promote and transfer globally best-fit nitrogen technologies, but with a caution. These technologies, though we may take them from Europe or from America or Australia, but it must be technically appropriate for us in Africa. It must be environmentally sound for us. It must be economically viable and socially acceptable to Africans. Most times, there's this disconnect between research and culture. I'll give you one example. There was a time in, I think in Africa, Nigeria, let me use my country. Rockefeller pumping a lot of money, I think close to $20 million for work in cassava and in maize. People are not used to yellow maize. The yellow maize was high yielding, you have about 3-4 tons. People never adopted the technology because they are used to the white maize when they make pap, to make cornflakes. So it took a lot of effort through the sociologists to convince people. So that's what I mean, that it will be socially acceptable. So if it is not socially acceptable, it's not going to work in Africa. Then we also need to the SDGs with nitrogen, resulting in improved nutrition and livelihood, is also very important for us. Then we need successful partnerships with key agencies, research institutions, and stakeholders in Africa and beyond. This is also very important. Then we also need to provide scientific support for evidence-based decisions at continental, regional, national, and local levels. Then we need to, I think we are doing this thing in the international nitrogen. We are talking about wages, talk about water, the air, greenhouse gases, the environment, and the soil. It's called so we need to look at all these things, how they fit in. Now, let me talk a little about some of the things I have done in Nigeria, in West Africa, and some other countries in Africa where I have worked with people. This is an ambiguous, a very ambitious project. It was funded for 10 years by the Gates Foundation. It is called the African Soil Information Service, AFSIS. So we have a lot of, it was funded by Gates, I think almost, Gates Foundation, close to $40 million for 10 years. So now I was part of it. I'm happy. So this is something that is so good for us in that now in Africa, all our soil and landscape, we can compare because we're using the same methodology proven by science. Of course, most of these things were actually adopted from Europe. Like when they were talking about these things, we have a lot of people from Netherlands, I think from US and Britain working. So we've developed how to collect soil samples and water samples that you can use model to predict what will happen. So this is what we are doing now. So we don't just take soil sample anyhow. And this is our technology actually driven. Right from the field, when you collect with ODK, when there's internet, the result can be sent online real time into the server in the laboratory. So this was funded by Gates Foundation. And a part of it is, I want to talk about Nigeria. So Nigeria, we have 14,087 croplands where we have clipped out forest and water bodies. But unfortunately, out of this, we have only been able to survey less than 3,000. That is why Nigeria government is pumping the 500 million euro yes, for the next 3 years to make sure that all the whole of the, so in Africa, it's only Ethiopia that have finished mapping their soil. It's only Ethiopia, of course. So we are trying to do that in Nigeria. So now I'm also happy to let you know that now, I don't know whether you do it here, we are gradually moving away from wet chemistry using mid-infrared. Now, instead of, in the laboratory, we call it dry chem, instead of using chemicals to analyze either your water or soil or fertilizer, now you scan them and you get the spectra. And the spectra are converted into actual values. But they're very expensive. This corn one is $70,000. So there's only one of this in Nigeria, and it's in my institute, but it was bought by the Gates Foundation project for me. So it is in my institute. So there's only one for the whole country. Then we have only 5 of this in Nigeria. This is the mid-infrared. So, and this is the portable SRF analyzer. So with this, we can save costs. So you don't need to buy chemicals. You don't need to contaminate the environment. You just need just about 1 gram, and you scan, and you get your result. All the analysis, the spectra, they're out in a couple of seconds. Then OCP, we got about 300,000 euros to work on cocoa in Nigeria. So we'll be able to cover all the cocoa beds. So I try to show that of nitrogen. So for now, we have the nitrogen map for all the cocoa growing areas. And those of you who are familiar with West Africa, like Claire, in Cote d'Ivoire, there's a place called Sobre. It's cocoa growing area. So we have mapped all these soils. So what it means is that we can actually tell with confidence the type of fertilizer, what the farmer needs to do. So it is. So this is, so you see where we have low nitrogen, you have high. So what this one is telling you now, if we need to apply fertilizers, we know so it's going to be site specific. So this is what is coming out of this project funded by OCP for cocoa. This is southern Nigeria. You can only grow cocoa in area where you have a lot of rainfall. So it's only in the south. This one was done a long time ago. Nereka is rice. It is called New Rice for Africa. It was actually funded again by Gates Foundation. Many of them have been. So we work with African Rice Center in Bouaké, in Cote d'Ivoire, where the headquarters is. They have a regional office in Nigeria and many other places. So we found out that, I'm happy, Nereka 1 has actually been released officially to be used by farmers in West Africa. This was the research I did. We found out that anything after 60 kilograms of nitrogen is actually a luxurious consumption. So then recently, we also got some fund from OCP. This is for oil palm. I don't know what you call oil palm in French. Oil palm, we use it to cook in West Africa. That is Elias Guinness's. It goes into the international trade market. So this is oil palm. Again, oil palm can only be grown in the southern belt where you have a lot of acid soil, because it needs pH of about 4.5, 4.3. So it is. So this is these are georeference points. What it means is right from here in Toulouse, I can click on my laptop and access the data from Nigeria, because we already collected this and they are georeferenced. well, don't let me talk about soil here, but this thing means a lot to us. These are different soil types we have in the cocoa growing areas. So you need different management. So it means that if you want to apply nitrogen for this soil, it will not be the same that you have to put there. So you have to put all those ones into consideration. And again, OCP is funding this one with about 100,000 euros. This is for tomato. I think you have seen tomato when I came to France. So we have, of course, this is Boko Haram area, Bogo area. They grow a lot of tomato here, but we're here. This is Nigeria. We didn't go here also because of Boko Haram. So these 3 states are not safe, but these ones are all right. In this sense for tomato. Then I'm sure you're very happy. This is wheat. Also, OCP gave us some money. We got, I think, about 150,000 euros for 2 years. So this is wheat. So for 2 states, Kano, Kaduna, in the northwest. So it's funded by OCP. We've started the work. Got a few results. As I was telling you, this is where we did the OCP wheat project. You referenced the soil samples. We also took both soil samples and water samples and wind samples. And this is a way of use when now my technician from my institute comes here. So you can look at the pH in water, the electrical conductivity, the exchangeable acidity, both in the water, in the soil. So of course, this was done using wet chemistry. So it also means that I don't know whether it's allowed. If they bring samples from Africa, you can actually compare results from the lab. There's a project by FAO now where all the laboratories in Africa are working together in synergy so that we have reference samples and we have standards. This is nitrogen in the soil. So we call this one that they're actually very low. So these soils are low, they need a lot of nitrogen fertilizer, but it's at a cost to the environment. And these are some of the maps we have developed. This one is developed for our use, and that is where Fabians will be coming in. Now we develop, this is pH and nitrogen maps. So you can see, so what means is that they need to talk to the farmers and the government extension agency on the social implication of this map. We've done the research. We have to bring in the sociology, or the socio-economy, social scientists to talk to farmers, extension people on what this is. This is another one, page from different states where people we see a lot of. So we took this from 360 fields. We took about 2 months to cover this one. So 400 years. And this is, I'm sure that Fabian will be interested in this. But nowadays, we don't use paper questionnaire. We use ODK, I don't know what to call it in French, Open Data Kit. So you have questionnaire, questions, what do you call questionnaire? Yes, you either put it on paper and you ask farmers, or you put it in tablet. And as you are asking questions, you save it, you can send it. So that one is faster, but this one, so this is a rural sociologist. This is sociologist, and also this is quite harmful. Some of this, I say leadership by example. I follow them. This is me. So there are places you cannot go with kilos. So you have to go like from here to the city center, capital, on bike. So, but you know, in where I come from in Africa, once the project leader goes to the field and you show enthusiasm, you actually you encourage people. Because people were scared, they did not want to go because of many things. I bike, you are following. Then I was telling you this is wheat. So this is not my culture. This is Vincent. This is what they wear in northern Nigeria. You could see that it is different from this, and the cap is not the same. So this is northern Nigeria in Kano. So this is fruit. Then, you know, we're on the field. I don't know what to call it. This is coconut. In Francophone countries, you see a lot of this. Benin, Togo, so you drink the milk. It's refreshing. After a hot day in the field, so we have to drink milk. So, how do we conclude? What are lessons for us? Number one, I want to talk as an African, what I see in the project, inside. And there are a lot of challenges that are interwoven. If you look at the INSA project document, you will see all the connection from the work packages and the stakeholders. So we need deliberate partnership so that we can have successful partnerships with relevant agencies and key stakeholders in France and beyond. Should be a lesson that in partnering with institutions will be a formidable winning team. It's very important for us. We need to lobby development partners to invest more in nitrogen R&D in Africa for more. France should lead using the experience it gathered from INSA. And I'm so happy, it's a good news. I got a mail yesterday from Nigeria. OCP is going to come on board. They actually, so because you know this is all we did. So we need to, when they say lobby, you know, I don't in politics, where politicians lobby to get bill passed. Scientists, you also need lobby to get fund for research. I don't know how you do that one here. So we need to lobby, and France should lead, but not to get involved with politics, no, but to lobby for them to put more money for research. For example, after INSA, once the fund finishes from Europe, I believe Africa has enough money to use INSA as a kind of a platform to launch it for the whole continent. So that's only by lobbying, and we need to get involved with African Union and all the agencies. Now, I'm going to close very soon. We have to move away from this. This is a linear R&D model. Now you see everybody look at researchers and education. So you see in INSA, let me use INSA for example, Claire, all of them, Fabri, all of them are doing the extension, farmers. There's no connection. We are doing, everybody is on here. I'm also here. Everybody. But here, look at it. Farmers, processor, marketer, consumer researchers, we're all linked together. So this is what we call innovation system. And I'm so happy that we are doing something similar like that next year when you come to Abidjan. So you could see here, I was here, you can't see the picture. These are high level. You even see some partners that came from Git Foundation. This is another project we're involved. This is the CEO. This is my institute. This is the deputy director. This is the head of account. This is the secretary of the institute. This is me, project coordinator, seminar coordinator. This man is the one that talks to the press. This is American. This one is Canadian. It's based in Nairobi. This is the former director that signed. This is the new director, the first female director, like Seven you have in my institute. Then you have people working here. So, in conclusion, we need sustainable intensification. We need to develop capacity, which I'm so happy INSA is doing through the secondment. We need to look at innovation ecosystems, but we must know how to manage what is, because there are going to be a lot of problems. For example, now I don't speak French. You have people from Francophone and Anglophone we need to manage. So if we do this thing, this one will bring science-led management to scale, and we'll have a lot of improved natural knowledge for political decision makers. They need things that they can work on. I got an email from Nigeria a couple of days, I think last week. So I have to send something quickly. We have a new Minister of Agriculture. So and they want to understand, why do you want to spend a lot of money to do digital soil mapping? He doesn't understand digital soil mapping. So what I need to convince you, okay, Honorable Minister, in half a page, if we do this, this is what will lead to our farmers. Then this one will happen to the economy of Nigeria, our exports. Oh, you can understand that within half a page. If I begin to talk about digital soil mapping of nitrogen or phosphorus, it's lost. He doesn't understand what I'm saying. So we need to make sure that we improve the knowledge of political decision makers through advocacy. I'm concluding with this. Advocacy for end research and policy, very important. Knowledge and information sharing, very important. Capacity building and strengthening, important, and partnership. You can see this actually is a summary. So at individual level, at organization, as system, we need to do this. Very important for the project. So, and I've said me, my institute, then these 2 work packages I'm involved together with all the other partners in Europe, and we support INSA projects. We disseminate the achievements to stakeholders and policy institutions. So we work together because we're a team. And I want to know that there are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of problems, there are a lot of hurdles, but this is African proverb. Challenges will always abound. It will be so many. Overcoming them is a real challenge. What is, look at this. This is a rock. How do you call rock in French? Big rock, Petra. But look at this crop growing. So I mean, despite the problem and challenges, we should have a positive mindset that we can overcome, and that to be a success, that at the end of the project, a new story is going to be told about nitrogen in Africa through the INSA project. So ladies and gentlemen, merci beaucoup. Thank you. Then this is my language in Nigeria. This moment, merci beaucoup in French. It's Eshe Pupo. Thank you.
So now we can go on to the questions.
To know in the OCP project of soil mapping, what is the global objective composition, but also about water, chemical composition? And at the end, where are the data, and now, in fact, there all African countries, and is the information available for all the scientific community?
Okay, it's a new lesson. You have to ask so many questions, then. Okay, the OCP project, fortunately, OCP is acronym. Officiel Périphérie Phosphate, Global Police for Phosphorus. OCP is French acronym. It's based in Morocco. They have the largest forest. They have a lot of money. The project is on in so many African countries, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Senegal, yeah, Côte d'Ivoire, yes, so many countries. So what they are trying to do actually is to make sure that all the soils of the African continent are mapped. Then we can now know what type of crops that you can grow. Of course, we also took the water samples, but there's OCP has, they call it non-disclosure agreement. You cannot give the data to anybody until after 3 years. Yes, but we are telling them it doesn't make sense. If you have to publish. So they say, okay, if you have to publish, you have to take permission, which they have agreed. They have relaxed the law. Because what they are trying to do is, if they invest in this research and you give the data to some other people, they can use it for commercial purpose, which they don't want. But now we are saying for research, for scientists, you'll be able to share. So we already have the database created. I'm one of the administrators for the database. So I can always, if that's why actually I'm insisting they should be part of the stakeholder. So it will be able to convince them to release the data for our partners. So
so question also about this big project actually, which is a big money envelope. So you're talking about actually nitrogen management, and you show us like you do some different samples, and first there is a mapping effort, okay? But is there going to be also you know, a regular measurements, you know, to assess actually what could be the evolution in time, since you're talking about trends here? Okay, so is it because it's a 10-year project, so you know, are the soils going to be sampled, let's say every year mapped? Yeah.
well, you know, there are things I don't have control over. The government is putting money for 5 years, but we are telling them we want it to be long-term, like Rotam said in UK. But you know, policy changes, the minister comes, another one. Like 2 years from now, we'll have another election in Nigeria. So if another government comes and they say, no. But what they have done is, there is a legislation in our parliament for this to be a continuous. So, but I don't know, I'm the project coordinator, so maybe if they don't like my face, 2 years, they change me, no, but no problem, I don't have issue. But for now, we're insisting, and that is how we are bringing in FAO, we are bringing in ISRIC, so that after we have collected initial data, then we can now begin to monitor changes over a period of time. But of course, they are going to ask you who is going to fund it. But I'm also aware that Gates Foundation office in Nigeria is willing. Let me be sincere with you. There's a lot of research efforts going in Nigeria to put money, but most of the donors are looking for very strong institutions and partners that they can trust. Because it's unfortunate when people collect grant, have never used. They use. So they are looking for partners. So what that's, I was also telling them where you can come in. But you know, that's also, you know, I was talking about lobbying the other time, because Nigeria has a very strong relationship with UK and China, and America. So there's a likelihood that Britain may want to block France. But you know, but if you come in through OCP, because the King of Morocco and our president, they are friends. You know, politics and research. So if you come in through OCP, then it becomes easier. Then you can say you have the expertise. Then you can give us your advice. It'll be easier since they are the one funding that we follow. But if it is a government, I'm sorry, it may not be possible for me to talk about that.
What I was wondering also is like, who's going to decide the sampling strategy? Because you show some results mostly about agro-systems. Okay. In INSA, we're interested also to do a regional assessment, which might be including some you know, natural land, unmanaged land. And so I was wondering, you know, like, okay, I can see an interest for managing crops, etc. But is there also an effort like to measure in unmanaged ecosystems nitrogen and how it is eventually impacted also like by environmental change?
Okay, I think I can sit down and answer your question. You know, in Nigeria, a lot of problem, not really. This project is in Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Nitrogen ecosystem is in Federal Ministry of Environment. So there's a kind of disconnection. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that we bring in all the partners. That's why I was talking about innovation the other time. So that we look at this, and then there are a lot of data sets to be collected. So my role is, we have 6 institutions that will be working with us at a regional level, who we just coordinate centrally. And we also have other institutions that will be doing some. But as I've said, you know, some of these decisions I cannot take because I'm not director of the institute. So, but when it comes to getting data, so what we are trying to do is that I think we have 2 PhD students now that work on this. But so there are a lot of things that we still need to be done. But I am sure that from the question I'm going to hear from you, I'm going to look at the concept note and send it back to them that this is what our developed partners are talking about. There are many things I have seen here since I came. I have to be sincere with you. That will be a big plus for me when I get back to Nigeria, when I go back to Africa. I see the way things work here. You know, it's a little bit different over there. So we can push that we can take some of those things and see how it was and to make this easier for us. You know, all these projects are in my institute. But let me tell you, most of our university professors and scientists are not involved. Some are involved because I invited them, I insisted. But you know, if the director says no, then you know, I don't have to. So because we say, you know, in the institute, we also have professors of all disciplines like we have in the university. So they tell you, why must you bring people from the university when you have people who can do it in the institute? So those are social problems that, Fabrice, I'll need to hear from you when I'm having a meeting. But there's no problem, I think it's possible.
I have a question.
Okay, sir.
You mentioned, or you showed that number of 18 kgs an hectare. 18 kgs per hectare as a fertilization at the moment. And you mentioned a target of 100 or 120 kgs.
Yeah, that's what we are saying. That's not. I know where it's going to. No, I know it is. Is there? This one. Okay.
Yeah, so you have a target of 100.
No, we don't have. Look at it. In Nigeria, this is what we use. What average is 100, Asia is 150.
Yeah,
so you are comparing Nigeria with.
But with the idea that 100 is maybe what will be the idea. So what will be the driving force to come from the economy or from the policy? And if you increase the amount of nitrogen you provide to the ecosystem, how do you make sure that you don't have wages impact, so you don't have impact on the water quality and climate and everything?
In 2006, there was the African Fertilizer Summit in Nigeria. I think people also came from Europe. All these things were done there. But of course, this was what the decision policymakers were talking about. But in real science, I don't agree with it. That's why now we're talking about what we call site-specific. So it doesn't make sense for me that you are moving from 18 to 100. Economic sense, and also in the environment. So I think it was a political statement in 2006. But unfortunately, it had been adopted by the African Union. Now, this is what we should do in the continent. But you cannot prove by science, because if you are applying 100 in US and 150 in Asia, the soil type is not the same. Then, so that's why I'm saying now, that's why we are now in what we call site specific. But this is an idea that has become a policy for African Union, which of course you have to prove to them that it has to be lower than this through science.
Do you think you can improve the yield without adding any more nitrogen to the ecosystem?
No, you will not. The yield you will get to be very low, ridiculous, especially for cereals.
Yeah, but the bar graph you were showing was with the rice.
Okay. Yes. No. Yes. Okay. No. Yes. No. You could see we were able to prove with. Sorry. Can you? 121. Can you? Yes. Continue going. Where you see the graph that shows. I think that's the graph. No. No. Okay, I think this.
So you show that the yield increases
Okay, you see that. I'm happy. Look at it. When we did not apply nitrogen, we were able to get a yield of over 1 ton, some close to 2 tons. So what this one is telling us basically is when you say you don't apply nitrogen to the soil, but the nitrogen in the soil already has its own native nitrogen. So this is another research I'm trying to do now. Instead of applying too much nitrogen, why don't we look for way crops can take the one that is in the soil and use it further? So in that area, what we need to do is to have a lot of organic materials so that you're able to convert the total nitrogen to the available nitrogen. But let me share with you, in Nigeria, fertilizer is a political weapon. If a government doesn't, you should tell this on to the government, they will lose election. Yes, they will. Akin Additional had problem. You know, he was Minister of Agric because, you know, there's fertilizer is a big market that people use to make money from. And unfortunately, they have to look for scientists who can tell them that you have to do it. So that's why you have to be very careful. Some of these things I'm telling you here, I cannot say it when I'm with government officials because they may actually kill you if you're not careful. So, but we need to do, okay, instead of adding 120, why don't we go for 60? So we reach a balance. Yeah, 50 kg. So, but that's general. But there are some places you may need 60, some you may need less than 60. So that is it. But you know, the Abuja Declaration was not, it's not being followed by all the people in the continent. It's just a summit by a head of government and head of states.
Yeah, so the idea is to avoid soil mining. So if you don't provide enough nitrogen, will take the nitrogen from the soil and then you will.
You don't remove them, so you keep on. Yes.
You are the chair of INI Africa, International Nitrogen Initiative. I would like to ask you if you can give an idea of what is planned in INI Africa beside the ANA INMS assessment, because it's considered only East Africa. So from your point of view, how do you see, after Matete, Bekunda and Kagele, the future work of INI Africa, considering all the science that would be done all over the continent?
When I became the African director, one of the things I had was to build partnerships. We had 5 steering committee members from East, West, but they're not working. You cannot force them. We chose what we call it executive. But because, you know, I does not provide fund for research. So you have to look for it. So people are not motivated. Even the demonstration in East Africa, you know, it was the INMS project. So, but what I'm trying to do is, I've told Raghuram, in fact, I'm trying to get a few people, I hope you'll also be involved, to get some fund from UKRI, so that we can have like they have the East Asian hub, so that we can have one for Africa. No, because I think they gave them 50 million pounds. So if we're able to get up to that, then we're able to cover for the whole of Africa. But I'm not sure whether I'm even interested in doing a second term. When I finish my term next year, I want to, too much politics in all those things. I want to face research and all those things. So, but I don't know. So I'm not thinking I want to do a second term. For, you know, I spoke strongly at the last INI that we had virtually. We couldn't go to Berlin because of COVID. So I think I'm really not comfortable the way they are doing the East African demonstration. So sorry, no, I'm not trying to. I see they are using African as technicians to take this, especially the Americans and the British. I'm not comfortable, you know, myself and what is his name? My friend in the big man in Edinburgh. What's his name? Yes, Marquis. It's so, Raghuram is always sending private mail to me to react, but you know, so I noticed that there's politics and a lot of confusion in INMS. But if we get some for Africa to do to have more demonstration site, because you cannot just use the one in Lake Victoria to talk about it will not work. So but we also need to do our own work. If African Union is able to support, then it will be nice. So all we need is to get technical expertise from people like you. Then it will not be, Mark is not going to be dictating for us. Because Mark is too overbearing INMS.
The INI project are just looking for expertise from people working on nitrogen in Africa, on science. You say there is no money. Of course, there is no money, but they just want to gather all the information available on the topic.
Release their data, especially in Africa. I told colleagues in some countries, wrote email to them, they never replied. Only one person replied. Yes, because, you know, the way we view things is different. Like in Africa is not so, I think it's not so strong like that of Europe or Oceania. Even they have the same problem in Asia. It's because they have the project. That's why you find out they are trying to work together, because they have the Southeast Asia hub. And you have some fund. If we get fund in Africa for the project, for a big project, everybody will come on board and want to work. So that's.
Sorry for my English. You talk on your slide, I don't know which slide, that the impressive growth of population that reached 500 million people in 2050. Yeah. And for me, the question is how will the country will feed the old population, and the most of the population is farmers. Or yes or no? About 60% in. Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And in your exposition, I don't know, presentation, you talk about industrial cultures like palm oil, like cocoa, like I believe tomatoes. También. I'm sorry, I mismatched languages. And the question for me is seems to be an inadequation between the question of the beginning, growth population, and the kind of work, what you are talking about, say palm oil and others. And what about the, do you work also with the I'd say traditional cultures like yam, like millet, like I don't cassava, like other production? And what about the nitrogen cycle in those cultures?
Talking to you, we don't actually know our population in Nigeria. Officially, we are 182, but Nigeria is more than 200 million people. We don't know. I was telling Claire, let me say, you know, people don't want to take the vaccine I took. They believe Europeans, you want to kill us, you know, reduce our population. That is what they are telling people. That they are preaching in churches, they are preaching everywhere, don't take the vaccine. Europeans want to reduce African population with COVID. Some people don't believe there's COVID. I'm telling you, I lost a colleague before I left Nigeria. She died of COVID. She doesn't believe, she didn't believe until she did the test and they have to put her on oxygen and she died within a couple of days. Very painful. They don't believe that. Some people thought I was crazy for me to take the vaccine. So that is where it is important for sociologists to talk to people that some of these scientific breakthroughs are not bad. I think you hear about Boko Haram. Boko Haram means Western education is bad. It is Arabic word, haram. Boko is Boko. So, you know, now it has become a big problem because some clerics say that Western education is bad. And now you see how they are devastated. So the population, yes. So we need to invest more in research. That's what we are doing. My country, we have so many, we have 18 research institutes for agriculture. And there's one for root crops, for only cassava and yam. There's one for wheat in Lake Chad, where you have Boko Haram, no-go area. There's one for cereals. There's one for cereals like rice, millet, sorghum, and barley. There's the one for groundnut, sesame, and cowpea, vegan. There's also another one for livestock. So there are so many research institutes, but you know, they take money from government every year, government fund. But because government pay our salary, whether you do anything or not, you get salary. So people don't do serious work. So it's only few that have access to fund. And once the research, when the donor gives you money, you know, you are restricted. You can only use the money. Like 2 days ago, I got a call from APNI, African Plant Nutrition Institute. They want to fund something on plant nutrition how to do with cereals, which I'm going to lead for the next 2-3 years. So I have to get some partners. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that our research leads to development. Now I'm happy to tell you that 2 years ago and last year, we're working on cassava. We call it provitamin A, that has beta carotene for the eyesight. So from the varieties, I'm not a breeder, after we screen them for nitrogen. Now the teaching hospital in Ibadan, the family health is called. So they want to use the vitamin A cassava that have beta carotene, cassava, maize, and orange sweet flesh potato, not Irish potato. Not Irish, we call it Ipomia patatas. Not Irish. We don't, not Irish. Yes. Sweet potato, yes. And now you see, they want to partner with us. They want to use it to feed patients who have diabetes, hypertension at the teaching hospital in Ibadan, University College Hospital. So, but the challenges we have, we don't have enough of the materials when we harvest to process. So now my institute and some people, we got some other small fund so that we can multiply the cassava, the yellow root. I can show you the picture, and the maize. Then we'll have enough. So it's possible to research, but some industry, like flour mills, for example, now flour mills, they are the flour to produce. Yeah, flour mills is interested in our wheat research. In fact, they are putting in some money so that they can multiply the varieties and use it to make, they use the wheat to make bread and to make confectionaries. So, but most industries are not ready to put money down until you can prove to them that the research works. And that's why I was talking at that time about disconnect between research and policy. So that's what I'm trying to do at my level now. And we are having some small results. When the institute was created 50 years ago, 1969, we have 3 colleges of agriculture. That's why it is called research and training. But they have removed the 3 colleges from the institute to be autonomous due to lobbying by those colleges. So they are independent. So now the training we do now is just for farmers. Before we were supposed to train middle-level manpower that have diploma, national and higher, not degree. But now they have removed the T. So the T we have now is to train farmers in entrepreneurship and skills. But most of the training we also do is, in Nigeria, by our constitution, all the members of the parliament have what we call constituency fund. Government allocates a lot of money for them to do some work in their constituency. So they will give us to go and train farmers, train youth on, like we did training now on how to, we were talking about nitrogen the other time, how to compost. Instead of using chemical fertilizer, you use compost from cassava waste and maize, the stovers, and decompose. And you can use waste from livestock, from poulet, and mix them to make organic waste for, so those are some of the things we do. What? What is the name of yeah? No, we have the T. You have to put the T. Because there's another one in northern Nigeria without a T. IAAR, Institute of Agricultural Research in Samaru, Ahmadu Bello University, in the north. So if you don't put the T, there's going to be confusion. Yeah, I know. But for you to remove the T, you have to go to the National Assembly, the Parliament, to revoke the law, which is.
You talk about site-specific.
Yes. Yes. Precision agriculture, yes. Now what we are doing with OCP funded project is, before in Nigeria and most African countries, we have what we call blanket fertilizer application. I don't know what to call it in French. Blanket means, okay, what do you call blanket in French? You used to, in English, it means a different thing. It's not the cloth. What it means that people will apply the same fertilizer for yam, for cassava, for maize, for cowpea. It doesn't make sense. So now, for site-specific, so we are now developing what we call specialty fertilizer. So there's one now developed for cocoa, which we have validated for 4 years. We have started the one for oil palm, the one for tomato, the one for wheat. So it means the one you need to use to grow wheat is different from cocoa. So this is actually precision agriculture. But of course, once we are through with the technical research, we still have to fall back to these guys to help us to disseminate. That's the rural sociologists.